Hey everyone, it's Ryan, and welcome back for the weekly update. This is the period of March 23rd to 29th, but I'm also going to give you a sneak peek into the month end because we're reporting up until the 29th. A few more sales will come in, but we're pretty much there. First, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has reached out with some positive words on my podcast project. We just posted episode 10, which is an audio version of this, and we have had over 100 downloads, which for me seems crazy because it's something that I've always been interested in doing as a project, but never really got around to doing it. So if you're in your car or cleaning the kitchen or whatever you're doing and you just need an audio version of something, give it a download. We promise to update it every week. I promise to get to 100 episodes, and I enjoy doing it. And again, I appreciate your feedback on it as well. This is the video format of that, and we have had a bunch of new subscribers in the past week, so I suspect that's partially because somebody has found the mysterious algorithm and it's getting to more people. So we appreciate you subscribing. We will update this weekly, and if there's any suggestions you have for us, we're always open to suggestions because this is a work in progress, ongoing. Okay, let's get into the numbers. So the period of March 23rd to 29th, there were 31 homes that sold in Guelph, or just over 5 per day, which is getting close to seasonal numbers. It's just late. Of the 31 that sold, 21 were detached and semi-detached homes. This segment, as I've talked about in the past, continues to be strong. On average, homes here sold at the latest asking price. However, there is an asterisk in that one home in particular on South Creek sold for over $200,000 over the asking price. I don't know why, but it drove the numbers up. So without that one sale, there would have been a little more negotiation for buyers on the detached segment, which is a little bit softer than we've seen, but it's only a 1-week period. In the condo market, of the 10 sales there, none of them sold over the asking price. All of them sold at or below the asking price, which continues to be what we expect in this segment. They sold on average of 97% of the latest asking price, and they range in price from in the 300s in the West End, all the way up to 730 on Gordon Street. So a wide range of prices. Of course, they are lower than detached. It's just this lower price segment, and so that segment, it's sort of a tale of two markets in Guelph. You've got the condo segment, which we continue to see struggles in just because there's a glut of inventory. And then you've got the detached segment, which is really hot below 900,000. And we're starting to see some movement on homes above $1 million. And in March alone, we've seen 3 that have reached close to 2 million in Guelph. So it appears there's life coming back to the $1 million plus segment. We'll touch on that in a minute. Okay, and looking at the numbers in total for March, we are a few days away from the end of the month, so these will change slightly, but this is what you're going to see in the next week when people come out with the final numbers. You're getting a sneak peek to what it is. The overall dollar volume is one measure we take a look at, so that's if you add up all the houses together. What did they sell for? What was the total dollars of the homes? And you compare that to the prior year. Then you take a look at the unit volume. How many houses actually sold versus the prior year. And those numbers should be pretty close to each other in a regular market. If those numbers are very different from each other, you have a situation of inflation or deflation. And then the third measure is the average price. And the average price is simply that. It's the average of all the homes sold in the area. So if we look at the dollar volume, so that's all the houses added together, what did it look like for March? That number is about minus 24% versus March of last year. No surprise, February was equally terrible. It's because there is concerns about tariffs in Guelph. Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge, Brantford, Hamilton are all highly impacted by tariffs. And so, of course, it makes sense that if you are concerned about your job or you're concerned about job security, you are not going to go out and buy a house. So a lot of people were just sitting on the sidelines. Makes sense. We do see some life towards the end of March. We were looking at 3.5 sales a week at the beginning of March, which is extremely low. And by the end of March, we're up to 5. So it looks like the spring market is now starting to arrive. It should have been here about a month ago, but it's about a month delayed at this point. But there are signs of life. The end of the month, this past week, we hit 5 sales per day. So 24% decline on dollar volume. Unit volume was 126 sales. We're probably going to get to around 130. And that would be a minus 24% as well. So interestingly, they're very equal. The number of homes sold and the dollars sold are about equal, significant declines versus last year. You would think then the third measure, the average price, would be significantly down, but it's not. The average price of a house in Guelph in March is about $781,000, which, although it's below the $800,000 mark that we had in a lot of the months towards the end of last year, it's only about a 5% decline, and it's not a huge difference. There were a significant number of higher dollar volume sales, that, as I mentioned earlier, closer to 2 million. But any given month can have those sales. So overall, the market is significantly down in dollar volume and in units, but the average price is holding. And I don't anticipate it's going to go down much further than this, because Guelph has such a wide range of home prices. On the lower end, in the 300s, on the higher end, some of them over 2 million. There are a lot of options. So the average price is probably going to remain stable. I do anticipate that all of the condo projects and stacked townhouses that are coming up are going to have a slight impact on the overall average price, because when you introduce a whole bunch of new product at lower prices, well, the average, of course, is skewed downwards. So I don't think it's going to have a huge impact, but I do think it's going to have an impact. And of course, who does the slowing market impact? Well, it impacts buyers and sellers who are hoping to move, but until they can come to some sort of agreement, buyers don't want to pay the prices that sellers want to sell for. And that's really, in the simplest terms, what it is. And until that happens, there's not going to be a significant increase in sale volume. If you think about back to 2022, when the market was crazy, the reason was because sellers were asking whatever price they want, and buyers were willing to pay whatever price they wanted. And unfortunately, that ended poorly for many buyers. But this is just the market we're in. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. Until a seller and a buyer can agree on a price, there is no deal to be had. It will have an impact on the real estate industry. Beth and I were on a radio morning show this week talking about the Guelph real estate market, and the announcer really wanted to talk about this because they obviously know that Beth and I are full-time realtors, and this is our living. And we're lucky in that we have a strong and stable business. So it's still business as usual for us. There are about 70% of realtors in total who had one listing or less in 2024 in Guelph. Those are going to be the ones that get hit, unfortunately, because when people get into tough times, and a home sale is always valuable, but when it gets to the point where you have to make some tough decisions and every penny counts, you want to work with a realtor who's full-time in the business, who's active in the market, who understands what's going on, who can negotiate for you, who understands the forms and the documents, because we have a lot of new ones. It's important to talk to a realtor who has that information. You are hiring somebody and paying somebody well to do this job. So you just need to make sure that you've got the right person behind you. Whether that's us or another realtor in town, that's a client's choice to make. But we always recommend that you talk to a couple of realtors, find out what they can do for you, and find out the best fit, because not everyone is for everyone. We're not for everyone, and we are for other people. So just do your due diligence if you are thinking about buying or selling in the spring market. And make sure you ask your realtor how active they are in the market, because it's very important right now, especially with a lot less sales. So if you want to talk to us, you can find us on our website at bethandryan.ca. You can always call us, email us, read our blog, and maybe even download our podcast. And we'll talk to you soon.